2 rooms. 3 people in mine, me, my lawyer, and my financial planner. 12 in his. So many, they couldn't even fit him in the same room as me. They had to give him his own boardroom. I didn't even see them at first. The mediator told me, and you know what? When she did, something in me just went cold. Outnumbered, 12-3. And here's the part that's hard to admit. I didn't fully trust my own 2 people either. I had somehow ended up with a bad divorce lawyer. So really, all I had to lean on was my financial planner. And that wasn't even her job. That room is where it hit for me for the first time. How unprepared I was. Not just for the divorce, but for everything else that was coming after it. Before any of that, we actually thought we could do this ourselves. Just the 2 of us. Keep it simple, keep it amicable for the kids' sake. We had 9 children together, and that really mattered more to me than anything. So we sat down to talk. Not in some lawyer's office, at my own dining room table, the one I'd played hundreds of games at with my kids, the ones I'd fed them dinner at every night for years. About 10 minutes into the conversation, he tells me, he's willing to pay child support. No alimony. I gave him 36 years, 30 years of raising our family. He's a surgeon, so this was never about the money. It was about what I had become to him. A business arrangement that he no longer needed anymore. I stood up, I told him I needed a lawyer, and I walked out of the room. That's the moment the amicable part ended, right there at that table. One friend at the time that knew what was going on with my marriage. She took me over to a lawyer that she thought was good, and you know what? I just went. I didn't research anything. I couldn't. My head was just spinning. And you know what? Even more than that, the reality hadn't really sunk in yet. When I left that house and I was looking for a lawyer, it just felt like I was going through the motions. I was directionless. My heart was broken. I was angry. I gave him over 30 years. I raised 9 children. I ran his entire home so he could be everything he wanted to be. And when it came down to it, he thought just splitting the assets was it. That's all I was worth to him. It took about 6 months for me and my financial planner to finally realize what was happening. My lawyer was a complete dud. He wasn't leading anything. He was basically just a puppet. You had to tell him exactly what to do, usually explain it multiple times, and then he'd charge you to do it. But honestly, the real problem was that I was too vulnerable to even know what to ask for. I just trusted whoever was in front of me. And listen, some women going through this still have a partner who shows up, who helps with the kids and checks in and makes the landing a little softer on every new thing she's figuring out. Mine didn't. Once he decided that I didn't have a purpose to him anymore, communication basically stopped. No co-parenting, no help learning any of these new roles I suddenly had to carry all by myself. This is exactly why the lawyer you pick matters so much more than people realize. When you don't have someone in your corner, family or friends or whoever it is that's supposed to show up, your lawyer stops becoming just the person who files your paperwork. They become the only person you actually have in your corner. So if I could say one thing to a woman picking her first divorce lawyer is this: my friend, research them. Look for real reviews. Ask someone you trust for a name. Don't just Google it and pick one. And know what you actually need. My lawyer didn't have a clue what it was like to sit across from him as a wife going through this process, and that gap cost me. So the lawyers were arguing over the big numbers, and there's something so sad about that. 36 years of a life we built together, and you know what it came down to? Nothing more than a spreadsheet full of dollar signs and numbers. But while all of that was being fought over, there was a whole different list I had to deal with on my own. Once I knew I was staying in South Carolina, the first thing I needed to do was to switch over my driver's license and to register my car. You know, these are just little things, and you usually just take doing these things for granted until you're the one that has to figure out how to do them in a new place and what all the steps have to happen before you can actually accomplish it. And in the middle of a divorce, even little things can feel overwhelming especially when you don't know the steps involved. Now, I want to be clear about something. I was not a helpless, fragile little flower who could not function. I could get myself under the kitchen sink. I fixed garbage disposals. I taught my kids how to do all the home repair stuff. Because see, I was home full time with my kids. I handled everything. But some things I just never ended up doing, like changing a flat tire. Even putting gas in the car, I knew how to do that, but honestly, I hardly ever had to do it. Anytime I needed gas, I always had one of my 7 boys who was ready at the helm to do it for me. Some things just were not my jurisdiction, so I just never learned. Then real life tested me. Before the divorce was even final, I got in a car accident. I completely totaled my car. I remember the numbness at first, and then the physical pain. I had 3rd-degree burns from the airbags. I was in shock, and I had nobody. My kids weren't even with me that week. So there I was, trying to physically recover, trying to figure out how I was going to replace my car, and my ex told me, you need to figure that out on your own. And then I hadn't even been on my own for 6 months, and I had to get through my very first hurricane completely alone. The power's out, the emergency sirens are going all friggin' night, and it is just me. That's a very specific kind of lonely. Realizing in real time that no one's looking out for you anymore, and you just have to pull yourself up and keep on going. 4 years later, I had to sell the house, and I needed a new one. I had done both of those things before, yeah, sure, but never on my own. On top of that, I was relocating to a whole new city, starting completely over. I had no idea how to negotiate and no idea what to expect, not by myself, but I was really lucky. I ended up with a really great realtor who walked me through every decision, but I didn't have the money to get my house ready to sell, so I had to sell stock that came out of my divorce settlement. I had been counting on that to build my future around, and I actually had to spend it just to fix up a house I was already leaving. Was I scared the whole time? Absolutely. Did I figure it out anyways? Also yes. Fixing the cushions. So important. There were nights early on I couldn't sleep. I just lie there thinking about everything I had never had to think about before. How am I going to pay the bills? Am I going to end up at Walmart passing out stickers just so I can get health insurance? I mean, these thoughts really crossed my mind because I had no idea what the future held. I had never done this before. And because I'd been married for so long, my dud lawyer kept saying, oh, your alimony is going to go on for years and years. You'll have nothing to worry about. But you know what? That's not how it played out. And honestly, there are still parts of this I'm working through today. So if I'm sitting across the table from a woman right now at the very beginning of this, right when it's all starting to hit her, here's what I want her to hear first. Get ready for the long haul, my friend. I know so many women in this exact spot are in so much emotional pain. They just want it over. They want the pain gone. And they think if they take the quick exit, sign whatever's put in front of them, and take the fastest way out, that the pain's going to disappear with it. It doesn't. The pain doesn't go away. He doesn't go away. All that happens now is that you're dealing with the pain and him, except from a weaker financial position. So don't just take the quick exit because it feels easier right now. I know you're exhausted. I know you're tempted. But think about who you're going to need to be a year from now, 5 years from now. Think about the future you. And start building your team immediately. Before you even think you need them, research, ask around, get real recommendations, not just names off a search page. And once you have a name, interview them. Ask for references. Don't just hire the first person that says yes. Because having the right people around you early doesn't just protect you legally, it gives you clarity. It hands you back a little confidence, and it takes some of that fear and overwhelm off your shoulders before you ever have to carry it alone. If this felt like your story, or maybe you think it will be one day, hit subscribe. I'm here every day just telling it like it is.